Hello everybody, it's Friday and this is episode 11 of StarSector Let's Play for New Players. I'm Seeker Roma Gaming and let's get into it. I'm feeling a lot better from my last video. I've got a cup of tea, which is perfect for all the British that might be watching. And I think let's get going with our video, shall we? First things first, to recap the last video, we killed a few pirate fleets. I was on my way to dispose of a potential pirate base that's been harassing us for a little bit, but we've ran into a little snag with all of our ships being under strength because I added a cruiser, which is unfortunately also a bit of a shambolic mess. So I'm going to head back to my colony world, grab some more crew, do some refitting, and then I'm going to head off and see if I can find that pirate base and show a bit of how station combat works. In this case, pirate bases are not particularly that strong, especially if you get them early on, but well, if you leave them for a long period of time, they will definitely be a problem for you. So, I will get back to you in a second. I keep seeing this Luddic path bounty all the way, just so close. But I don't know. Luddic path bases are a lot tougher than pirates. Oh. Our colony's farming has just finished building. Now we can see that the income is beginning to jump up now. If we click F1, we can see that our exports are total to 13,000, and this is only just beginning. We have a 5% market share, and it's going to just snowball from here. And the important thing to note is that one of the best export commodities is actually food, because there are so few planets in the galaxy that manufacture food, and each of the factions is of course doing their own squabbling and getting raided, so food convoys are always quite short. It's one of the commodities that is always getting consumed but isn't produced enough. So when you have a few planets that are producing food, and when your population gets higher and it produces even more food, you'll be raking in significantly more cash. You can then of course make it a little bit better by slapping an alpha core in there, but you don't need to worry too much. Save those for your patrol HQs, way stations, and ground defenses, because getting bombarded is far more important than making a couple thousand extra credits. And we're back at the core world now, well, not core world, our colony, and I think I'm going to make a few slight changes. So, in the last few combats I noticed that my piranha bombers were not exactly doing so well. They are very slow, and their bombs are even slower, whereas our torpedo bombers were pretty much hitting all the targets, overwhelming enemies, and they weren't even getting anywhere close to the combat, so they would come straight back to the ship, resupply, go back out. These bombers unfortunately had to get a lot closer. They tended to be killed off a lot quicker. So I want to see if I can try and get some more types of rocket bombers. I know that I don't have any torpedo bombers left, but let's see. So we have the Kopesh, the longbows. I think I will go for the longbow, because it has its own point defense system laser as well as a shield system. Compared to also the Kopesh has 2 crew per fighter, so this is probably a better upgrade. High shield, or shields on fighters, gives them a little bit more survivability. It's not perfect, but it's something. And that's a good enough switch out. Everything else seems good. And now for the other cruiser, let's see, so it's got unfortunately a bit of damage going for it, speed, range, armor, hull. Yeah, it's pretty bad across the board, but it still would make a good effective strike cruiser similar to the other one we have. So let's see what it can give us through the auto fit. It's not a bad setup. It's got some anti-shield missiles, standard point defense, disable engine missiles and anti-armor missiles combined with a fighter bay. I was not sure about the ECCM package though. Let's see if there's something else we can swap out for that. I wish that there was some other benefits for missiles, but I guess we don't have anything like that just yet. Yeah, I'll just go for maneuverability. Don't really see the point in investing in capacitors or vents, because the ship is not going to be building up a lot of flux with missiles. Whereas this strike cruiser is focused a bit differently. I could also do the same thing. Actually, I've never thought about that. So we actually have no ECM skill at the moment for electronic warfare. Yet I never really encounter enemy fleets that have electronic warfare, so I think we'll keep one ship with an ECCM package just in case. I don't think it'll matter that much. We'll keep this. I think everything else is fine actually still. Yeah, it seems okay to me. Okay, perfect. I will head off to the pirate base and see what I can manage out of them now. And back to the hunt for the pirate base. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I wonder which entry point might be the best. I think let's do the inner system jump point and see what we get close to. Okay. Well, I believe it might be that, considering it probably has a huge sensor profile. Yeah, okay. And whilst I was here, I got a little pop-up saying that the bounties just started for this pirate base, so I was going to destroy it anyway, but I'll happily take the 150,000 credits, guys. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I'm slightly worried here. Oh, okay, I don't want to hit too many pirates all in one go. Let's see what the pirate base has on its own. Actually, whilst we're here, maybe we can grab an officer too. Hi, pirates. Can I take one of your officers? He's a cautious personality. Okay. On occasion moving in if outranged by the enemy. Well, cautious isn't actually too bad, and I like the cut of his jib, so I'll go hire him. Only 4,000 credits. Anybody at the bar? Oh, what is this? There's a veteran spacer. What's he looking at? Ain't nothing, I'm just reading my mail. He growls back, then laughs and taps his temple. I swear I'll never get properly used to these things. Looks like he's got a bit of modifications. Okay, offer to apologize for the misunderstanding. The old space hand opens up one drink. It turns on 2 or 3. Tells stories of old injuries earned, including that of his lost eyes. There's just 2 survivors from that mission, me and the pilot. Lucky bastards, we two. All began on a salvage fleet to the decivilized systems outside the core worlds. The loot was good, and any brigand they couldn't fight, they could flee. And then the officers found something new in a data cache. Rumors flew among the crew, who were told nothing. As the fleet suddenly left a rich asteroid belt to make for the outer system jump point, they fared 2 hyperspace storms before arriving at a distant star system. There they found a planet all shining and red. It wasn't anything natural. It was all shapes, angles, glowing like plasma. That's the truth, he says quietly. I've seen gates, sure, and orbital works big as you like. I ain't seen anything like domain-made glow like that across a whole planet's face. Not anything that weren't a weapon, I mean. While we were gawking, the prox alarm goes, and it's battle stations. Hostile ships come fast upon the salvage fleet, flitting with agility belying advanced tech. They had equally advanced weapons too, and with those they attacked with no mercy. It weren't pirates, nor military. Here the spacer loses his cheer at a good story. Blood's hells, I swear to you it weren't anything human. The spacer explains that he and the pilot got away in an escape pod which was only mostly malfunctioning. The miracle wasn't that I fixed it, it's that they could thaw enough of me out at the end for me to keep living, if you call this living. So where was this red planet? I emphasize my interest in the red planet. He shakes his head though. Captain, I wouldn't wish my fate on anyone. And he pauses. Nolan Elysium would know. He's taken to drinking himself senseless in a semi-retirement on nausea. Okay. So, this is one of these storyline quests, you could say. In this, it leads to an interesting place with a lot of interesting combat and treasure. It's not a place you want to go to until you have substantially better ships, though. But you can still go talk to the pilot, get the address of the planet which they ended up at. You do have to pay him a fair bit of credits, but this quest is not too bad. It's quite fun actually to try and make your way all the way out there and get to that world. We'll leave him to his rest though. And we'll leave the bar. And whilst we're here, I feel like, why don't we just grab ourselves some of the pirates' supplies for sale and their fuel as well. I mean, we're not going to be needing it after we're done with them. Maybe I should grab some marines whilst I'm here as well. I think 138 should be okay. I'll be using these in a bit. Now let's consider our military options. let's see what's going on. So we've got a military space station, but it's not very good. It's got, in this case, okay, so it's just the one standard combat module. You see here it's got this sort of red outline here. It's like a part of it stuck into it. This is a level 1 space station. If it was level 2, it would have 2 disks, and if it was level 3, it would have 3 disks. Level 3 stations are hell to destroy. Level 1s aren't too bad because you can sort of like keep on their blind sides and focus on it from the side without letting all the cannons get to you. It can be annoying with a fleet hiding behind it, but it's not too terrible. And as for the pirate fleet itself, well, I mean, it's large, but it's combat freighters. it's not going to be that powerful. So let's clear out the defenders and the space station. I wanted to raid it, but I can't be bothered chasing away the fleets. Let's go into battle and deploy all of our combat ships. We should have enough torpedoes to clear this stuff out. Let's go. There's our damaged little pirate cruiser we have. Okay. So let's see. Try and put my ship directly on the station itself, followed by the destroyer. Let my guys deal with the smaller ships until we can catch up with the fighters. These things have no shields anyway, so they're just going to get chewed up, even by fighter squadrons. Yeah, they're forming a nice little line. I don't particularly enjoy it. Okay, so here's the station that's currently pointed at us with all those cannons. You see just how it's making my own ships question their decisions. And it has a lot of point defense, so just firing torpedoes at it on your own is going to take a long time. And in fact, I might want to move my fighters to a different target, because they're just going to get chewed up and spat out. So many little ships. It's so annoying. Oh, you see that? Just all that point defense. Just all the fighters getting minced. But against heavy bombers, this is the perfect target for you to hit with them. At this rate, it might be easier just to go straight through the station. They're all going to be hiding behind it. It's kind of annoying. Fortunately, pirate ships are not known for their stability. Their combat readiness is already declining. A few of them are like 50s, 70s, 50s, 70. Yeah. So with space stations, they're a bit unique in that you have to take them apart first. You can't just shoot at them. You see here, like, my ships are focusing fire on the 3 pillars. They're going to take those out first and then focus on the main plate of the station. Otherwise, you saw like there, the missiles just hit and they did nothing. Come on, destroyer, get out of that firing angle. In that case, there we blew off. Oh, we nearly blew off one of the pillars. To overwhelm it a bit. There we go, perfect. So now with the station out of the way, there's nothing the pirates can hide behind. And we've accomplished the objective and collected the bounty, even if we fail at the rest of the fighting here. But I don't think we'll have any problems. I'll order a full assault, make things a bit easier. Those missiles have some impressive range. You just see red, disabled, disabled, destroyed, disabled. But don't get complacent though. Pirates are the easiest faction to fight against. Like, even just going up against Luddic Path can give you a run for your money later on. What's left? Mostly they're all running away. It's just a drone tender left. Against all those missiles, yeah. Bye. So, did we lose anybody? Okay, so we must have just lost a lot of fighter crew there. I'm guessing probably all the bombers. They probably just kept going at and at the station constantly. As for everything else, let's do a little bit of recovery. Nothing important. A little bit of credits though. And the best part about space stations is they are just loaded. You just take all this lovely stuff. And you also get lots of levels up as well. The higher the station, the more the level is. We've got the bounty in addition. And let's do a little bit of salvaging. Oh yes, I like that. No thank you. Take all. One more salvage. Again, take all. Check out the derelicts. I'm basking in a solar flare at the moment. Let's get out of that. Absolutely horrible. All these pirates now flying around. Okay. Well, I accomplished my goal. The pirates are done for, which means we have no more... in fact, we don't even have the thing for colony threats anymore selected, so when we go look at our colony, there's no more instability caused by pirates attacking us. Unfortunately, we still can't get rid of the pollution. We got the bounty, we got a bit of treasure, a lot of supplies. We only spent about 100 or so actually going into the combat itself. I think that was an all-around success. Let's see what else I can find whilst I'm here. In fact, maybe I could take on the Luddic forces and see how that goes as well. And with my 3 extra levels, I think I'm going to invest in a very, very useful skill, electronic warfare. This skill is very handy because it ensures that you always have a range advantage against the enemy, especially in big fleet engagements where you throw all your ships at them. I see very rarely the enemies have ECM packages in their fleets, so against the vast majority of opponents, especially when cleaning up pirates or Luddic Path forces, this is a very good skill to get. Get this in tandem with coordinated maneuvers, and then finally command and control, and you're looking at 25% speed bonus in addition to 25% range bonus. That's ludicrous. Like, you can really just keep shooting the enemy and they just can't get anywhere close to you. So I want to completely max this out. Now I'm going to see if I can do a bit of station killing a little bit better. And as well, I forgot to assign my officer. So he's only got Strike Commander and Advanced Countermeasures, but that's not too bad. It might make him good for a strike cruiser, for example, like our Falcon. So I'll slap him in there and do some levels up on my other officers. This is the current situation. We've got me, 2 Falcons, and a Sunder. These ships have some fighter squadrons, but not a lot, so I don't care that much about having carrier skills for these guys. I'd rather have a dedicated carrier ship for level 3s than that. As for the levels up, let's see, so she's level 17, so we can only go 3 more levels. Let's see what we can get. Evasive action, countermeasures. The high explosive reduction is quite effective, as well as the kinetic damage reduction. Because kinetic and explosive are those matching damage types that are effective against shields and armor, respectively. Now, combat endurance. So in this case, I don't expect to use anything other than level 1 of combat endurance, because with that extra peak operating time, theoretically my ships should never actually have declining combat readiness during combat. They'll just be able to last as far out the enemy as possible. So we'll just get her helmsmanship, and this top speed bonuses will actually be useful for a carrier, because those tend to be slower ships. And lastly, the Sunder, which we really want to get that range advantage, especially in addition to the ECM warfare, and in addition to any ship augmentations. You're looking at like perhaps 60 to 70% range advantage sometimes. Let's get that, followed by power grid modulation. All good for now. So here is the Luddic Path base. Now, Luddic Path is substantially more dangerous than pirates. Their ships have a lot more safety overrides, system overrides, big cannons, lots of larger ships, and also some other particularly aggressive pilots or officers, which means their ships just go straight at you. You're not going to be fighting as many poorly equipped ships. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so I fortunately know where the base is in this system. I see here it's this green Luddic Path base in orbit of Delta Bizzel B. So there is no... oh, what's this guy? Okay, never mind. So there is no nascent gravity well here for us to sort of hop in closer. We'll have to either go into the star or to the jump point. I think... let's try a close approach to the star and see what happens. At least it'll be a bit sneakier. And it's... okay. So what's the defending fleets like? This is actually worse than the pirates. What's going on here? Although I would love to salvage a couple of the ships they have, like the Sunder class. Oh, well, there they are. Okay, let's get away. I'm hoping I can just lure these fleets out a little bit. Because I don't want to fight them with the station itself. A little supply cache just hidden right next to it. Oh, we can't salvage it just yet. Maybe now we can. Yeah, it'll help. Go dark. Okay, is this... okay, so actually we can maybe get our 5th officer. What can she do? Reckless, okay. So, Reckless is the opposite of timid. The ship is going to just ram them as close as they can. I don't really want that. Huh, okay. So I can't actually hire any more officers. I've reached my limit. But you can still get officers from escape pods that you find when you're like looking for distress signals and such. So sometimes you end up with more officers than you can actually have. I just can't recruit this one. Nobody at the bar. Anything of interest in the shop? Not particularly. Grab a bit of supplies. Yeah. Hey, some extra crew. Hilarious, like taking them from the place we're about to blow up. And now it's a little bit more manageable. We've chased away the smaller fleets, we've got just these left. One nifty little trick that might be good to know is that these pirate bases and Luddic bases, when you go to destroy them, before you do that you buy all your goods and you look at the officers and look at the bar, you also can look at the ship markets on those stations as well. So you can always buy a few extra ships maybe to stock up, or maybe you can grab something unique to that faction before you blow up their station. Unfortunately, in this case, I'm looking at all the ships and I'm thinking that there's not a lot here actually that I'm finding that interesting. I mean, maybe a modified super freighter with all those cannons, but they're too fragile. Same with all of these other converted freighters. I could maybe do with one as a fighter platform, like say this one, but I'd rather have an actual carrier, because this ship has just a bunch of point defense guns and fighter bays. Likewise, everything is pretty damaged. Nothing here that I'm really that interested in. But still, before you blow up any stations, take a look at the ship market, see if you can find anything interesting. Maybe you'll strike gold. In this case, I should have done it with the pirate station, but I guess out of habit I've just stopped looking because pirate ships are not that remarkable for me anyway. And I've gone for a little bit of a time warp here because I just had a very long 30-minute section where I was fighting the station, and it completely wiped my fleet out. It was it was substantially stronger than I was expecting. The Luddic pair forces were substantially more missile oriented than I was expecting, and even after trying to pull off something of a retreat, you can't salvage ships when you retreat, so I ended up back to my civilian ships and a couple of frigates. So I've gone back in time. I've decided that I'm not going to attack this station. I'm going to just let it be for now, or if I can attack it, I want to try and get rid of this fleet that's defending it first, because that was giving me a lot of problems. So let me see what I can work out. I need to wait for it to go on patrol duty first, and maybe we can pull it away or chase it away, and then once it's free, maybe I can take on the whole station on its own. Just let this be a lesson for you all guys, that like pirate stations are relatively easy. Everything else is, especially this early game, is a big pain. Okay, so I think I accomplished what I wanted. I think I just got the station on its own. Nope, get a bit closer. Run away. Go away. Shoo. Shoo. Okay, I'll take that. That seems to be a bit more manageable than the previous odds I've had, so let's see how this goes. I'm gonna throw everything I have at this station because it is causing me heartache. Not literally. And in fact, I'm gonna order a full assault, making things a little bit simpler. They're just gonna hide behind the station anyway, so trying to be all tactical about it doesn't really work with a three-sided death platform. So, you see, in this case, this station's a bit different to the pirate one in that it has a primary defense ring and then two smaller ones. So they haven't got as many guns on the smaller ones, but that's still, as you can see, a lot of rockets and a lot of bombs. And I think one of these small ships might actually be first to explode. Wow, look at all that, wow. This is where you need point defense, guys. Okay. So let's see how it's going. In fact, the sheer amount of firepower coming out of it, actually, you can see how your AI piloted ships are scared of it. They pull back away from it. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be in the same in that situation. But on its own, it looks like the station's a little bit more manageable. Okay, there we go. One of the platforms is gone. Let's start disabling those cannons. We lost the wolf, not too bad. Okay, there goes the primary platform. Now all that's left is the secondaries. And they're still hiding, they're not coming out to fight. Yeah, this is much easier. Once you have a station on its own, it's a lot better to overwhelm it like that. All that's left are a bunch of upgraded pirates. Looks like he's going to try and run away. Might pull it off, assuming the combat readiness doesn't malfunction his engines or something like that. I'd be quite happy salvaging asunder, and not too bad of a destroyer actually. Yep. I think he'll get away. Well, at least the station is gone, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Finish that Sunder off. Get back our wolf and scarab that we lost. Oh, one thing you might notice with the Luddic path ships is they have this negative modification called ill-advised modifications. Specifically, I'm not sure exactly what that does, but I have a suspicion that it makes the ship randomly explode when it's got a lot of pressure applied to it. I've had ships that are nearly full health just completely pop the moment the shields go after an overload. So I'm currently going to avoid ships that have that ill-advised modifications to them, which is most Luddic path ships actually. Let's see what we get in the wreckage. Looks like nothing that interesting. Yeah, we can just take all. We're just under limit on capacity, but that's fine. And we get a bounty. Whoa, a whopping 10 improvement of the independence, which is nice, and 2 character levels. So actually let's get that now. And what I want to do is get level 3 safety procedures next, because now my ships are starting to get a few more damage modifications. I want those effects to be reduced. And it also, the other effects are also quite handy. You get less crew losses, you get protection from stars, and the emergency burn doesn't consume supplies anymore. So if an enemy tries to run away using emergency burn and you pursue them using it, you'll actually intercept them and they'll be at lower combat readiness. So we'll get up to level 2, and then we'll get level 3 after that. Sometimes recovery operations is also handy to get, but this is depending on if you're trying to focus on getting more of the damaged starships or not. I prefer to buy them and then repair them or build them myself. So, but the fuel, the 50% fuel is quite an advantage, I would say. Anyway, all the pirates are now gone. Let's do a bit of salvage and see what else we can fish out. Huh, combat freighter. They're not that good in combat, so they're called a combat freighter, with less emphasis on the combat part. Dump off some of the metal, we don't need it. Do a second salvage, finish off all the good stuff. I think that should be fine for now. We got a fair bit of money from that. We cleared out 2 annoying bases of problems. This video took a bit longer than I was expecting, but I had a nice cup of tea, actually 2 cups of tea here to do it, so I think it was a fun hour to do this, a couple of hours actually. I hope you guys appreciated this. I hope you found the station combat a bit interesting to see, and as always, have a great Friday, have a great weekend guys and gals, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!